Today, Nancy Pelosi said MLK, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and Abe Lincoln would all have tears in their eyes if they knew Republicans and 2 Democrats were preserving the filibuster. You can't make it up. Take a look.
If you really, truly want to honor Dr. King, don't dishonor him by using a congressional custom as an excuse for protecting our democracy. He has a monument on the Mall along with Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all of them with tears in their eyes for the departure from our democracy that is happening right now, unless the truth is acknowledged and this legislation is passed.
Now, if you think Nancy Pelosi's theatrics were over the top, many other top Democrats, they were worse. Some openly accusing their fellow Democrats. That would be Kristen Sinema, Joe Manchin. Now they're calling their fellow Democrats racist and bigoted. Take a look.
People like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, these are the white people that Martin Luther King Jr. warned us about.
I submit that members of the Senate, regardless of their party, no longer have to ask what we would have done then. We're doing whatever we would have done then right now. This is a moral moment. This is a 1965 moment.
They have sent this signal. They have been very clear about it. They don't care about minorities. They don't care about blacks. They don't care about people in their own districts who they're going to deny their voting rights and undermine their voting rights.
I know Robert Byrd, the former senator, the late senator. I know what he did in the latter part of his life. Yes, he was a member of the Ku Klux Klan, but in the latter part of his life, he changed. So what I would say to you is that it is hurting people. The filibuster is hurting people.
Not to be outdone, Hillary Clinton, now trying desperately to regain relevancy, inserted herself into the conversation using an MLK quote to trash Sinema and Manchin. I had hoped that white moderates would understand that law and order exist for the purpose of establishing justice, and that when they fail in this purpose, they become the dangerously structured dams that block the flow of social progress. By the way, Hillary, where were you in the summer of 2020? We could have used your help. Anyway, quite a turnaround from the woman that once referenced African Americans as super predators. Hillary is so desperate to be relevant, kind of sad. Recently, Democratic strategist James Carville. I actually know James, like James, have debated James. He's not a dumb guy. Anyway, he had advice for his fellow liberals, quote, "You Democrats, my fellow Democrats, you whine too much. Quit being a whiny party." That's an understatement. Unfortunately, I seriously doubt they will take his advice. And here now with reaction is the brand new host of the 7 p.m. hour. We're very proud of him. Our friend, co-host of the 5, Jesse Watters, along with Fox News contributor Leo 2.0 Terrell. So far has not made the cut for Jesse's first week, but I'm lobbying hard for you, Leo. I'm on my way. It's going to be Hannity, Leo 2.0 on Wednesday, not the first show. We don't rate for the first show.
No, first day. First day or a lawsuit.
No, first week. First week is good enough.
He's making demands. Your first day.
Just accept it. It's his world. We live in it.
It's an injunction. Lawsuit.
All right. Let's start, Leo. You know, a part of this, if Democrats didn't use this playbook so often, I might be offended and might take it seriously. But it just rolls off me like water off a duck's back because they use it all the time.
Well, I'll tell you right now, look, the Democrats have lied to people of color for 50 years. Let me just give you 2 areas where they have lied. Schools and crime. Look at the Democratic cities. And they have played the race card for over 50 years. They're in a 1965 time warp. I've said this, Sean, for the last year and a half. I want to be clear. There is no systemic racism in this country. Dr. King eliminated that with the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, and the Fair Housing Act. But the Democrats will keep reinventing the race card. You know what it is now? It's critical race theory. But if you look at the polls, it's not just Joe Biden is shrinking in the polls. He's losing black support and Hispanic support because people of color, of all colors, they're awake. They know they don't drink the Democratic Kool-Aid anymore. And that's why you see the Democrats in trouble and very, very desperate.
You know, Jesse, forget the playbook for a second here. Let's look at other issues. We have in Democratic blue states, blue cities, we have crime wave after crime wave, a result of no bail laws, a result of get rid of the cops, defund, dismantle. And I look at that. If you can't keep law and order and people safe and secure so they can pursue happiness, you look at the school systems, they're destroying our children. We spend more per capita on education per student with the worst results. Now we're going to trust them to take over every other aspect of our life, the same people that bankrupted Social Security, the ones that said keep your doctor plan and save money, those people. Why do people trust a party that has lied and failed again and again?
Well, they don't. The American people have turned on the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party has turned on the American people. We want to be focused on inflation and the economy, not windmills and mail-in ballots. And now that the Biden agenda has stalled out, the Democratic Party is turning on themselves. Many Democrats, especially black Democrats, feel like they delivered the nomination to Joe Biden, but Biden hasn't delivered anything to them. So they're trying to nuke through their entire wish list and are fragging moderate Democrats with vicious racial slander who don't want to go along with their destructive power grab. As you showed, Crooked is getting in the trenches, which tells me she's going to make a run in 2004. Nancy Pelosi, so bewildered, she's invoking the founding fathers in a good way to shame her fellow Democrats. And I don't think the shame game or the race baiting is going to work with Manchin and Sinema at all.
Why do these blue states, again, they can't provide simple law and order, safety and security, or a good education for our kids? Keep it simple. Everything about Obamacare was a lie. Keep it simple. But they keep getting elected in these same states and cities. Why?
Well, they have a machine in these blue cities, Sean. You know how that works. It's overwhelming. Go ahead, 2.0.
Thank you very much. They have created a dependency. They have created a lie saying that there's a half of this country that is racist, white supremacist. They misguided the whole country on that terrorist attack over the weekend. Why? Because they want to focus on white supremacy. They don't want to focus on what's going on overseas with terrorism in the context of what's going on in this country, borderless country. They want to keep that white supremacy card played, and they're trying to point the finger at everyone else but themselves. The Democrats are the racist organization, the party of racism.
Jesse, we'll give you the last word.
Well, Biden has a pivotal news conference on Wednesday. I don't think it's physically possible for him to do anything to turn this around. It's like me trying to dunk a basketball. I just can't do it. The scandals in his administration are gobbling up huge chunks of people's paychecks. It's getting people fired. It's delaying flights. It's making the streets less safe. It's literally hurting people. It's not like, yo, Benghazi IRS, Whitewater, people sit back on their couch and they follow it on the TV and they watch the media spin. The media can't spin their way out of this. The Democrats can't spin their way out of this. He is an impossible hole right now. And like I said, he is physically incapable of getting himself out.
All right, Jesse Watters, again, congratulations on your new show.